Y'all, Twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman, YouTube, Bin Hamin, aka Mr. OVW channel, where Hamin hits the fader and the crowd gets lit. I start busting off some new shit. The stage so smoky that I almost fall off. I start inhaling it. We're trying hard not to cough. And there's no coughs this morning, infidels, since the Impact Attack live and direct from the West Coast, from the East Coast, from the down south. You know where you're getting it all here at hackerhamin.podbean.com. Kayfabe password change day. Y'all. Yeah, man, having some fun. I call my brother's son because he shines like one, and that's MSG back at it early this morning. Super producer is in the house, and he's lamping and shining. He's getting his UV rays on. Good morning, pal.
Yes, sir. We're back, ladies and gentlemen, for another edition of the Impact Attack. Got a couple different hot stories that have been cooking, because I'm cooking right here in the sun on another bright sunny day morning here in Colorado. Hasn't turned to too much snow yet. People are telling me that is coming within the next month, they say. But
sure,
for now, I am enjoying the nice weather, 50, 60 degrees of mild, cool weather at night, and not having turned the heater on yet. So I'm good. I'm great. Man. We're back, and we're going to talk some Impact. But we got a physical terrorist. Is that who's with us today?
That's right. I have finally reached my final form here, combining the worlds of modern medicine with evil. I have gone from physical therapist to physical terrorist. And last night on the Impact show, whatever it was, we saw Rich Swann finally pay the ultimate price. Ross Foreman was just a pawn in our evil scheme. And then his tibia, his ankle, his entire fucking leg, it was smashed. Yeah. We're jumping on the crazy train, and our locomotive is mayhem. You hear me? He just couldn't stand the pressure. MSG. And for those that are listening and not watching, I'm holding up a blood pressure cuff, so it's hilarious. Yeah. Yes. What now, MSG? What now?
I'm a little fearful, and I'm excited at the same time. So I'm not sure. I'm conflicted.
You should be.
That's right. That's what happens when I lock you in the dungeon and confuse you with terror and pseudo-sexuality, and I greenlight the physical terrorist. That's what we get here this morning, infidels. And you're greenlit too here at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. I see the chat room already filling up. The War Room podcast is here. It's Frank's Pickle Barrel ass. He never leaves. He might have stayed here all night long after we left. And
right
on the fort. And Vance Whalen's back along with the propaganda master, Real El Plaza, you infidels. Follow at Hamin Media Group on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest updates. But yeah, man, I know there's a lot of headlines going down, and I'm glad that I've got some terror backup this morning to handle it, because it's time that we inject some fear back into the product, and because they seem like they have none of reprisal. But we'll see what's going to go on across the board. Heard crazy things from AEW, WWE, and Impact was interesting last night, so I'm glad to be back talking with you guys. Dr. Ted, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ben. It's finally good to be on the right side of evil.
Finally, right? You don't have to worry about anything, about what anybody thinks. You just know that they hate you, and it's so freeing, really. Evil is freedom.
It is. It really is. You know, I think more evil would really bring about more freedom in society.
I think so.
Really, that's what it comes down to. You know, actually, evil can be very, very, dignified and professional. And if anything, really, a well-oiled machine runs on evil.
Well, as the late great Van Halen said, the winner takes all. So if they have one more kill, the last one to fall will never sacrifice their will. So rest in peace, Van Halen. Right?
Yeah, I know a lot of people were feeling that last night. I'm not going to go in on them. Maybe not my favorite group of all time. I do like Little Hot for Teacher, because that's how I got some of my wives. That's their theme song. So we're teaching some lessons here, hopefully today. Maybe learning some lessons, because every great teacher should be able to open their mind and be able to learn from their students as well.
I do have an announcement for those. I'm just going to put it out there since I probably won't be live on HMG once this week. But we do have a new section in the Hamin Media Group Discord. It's a thread called Street Team. If you'd like to be part of the Street Team, I see some of the people actually here who like Vance Whalen. And I know Frank's Pickle Barrel Ass and Plaja were in there already. But if you want to be part of the Street Team, all you got to do is just put you're interested. In about a week, then I'm going to lock down this thread. So like then only the people who are in the Street Team get to see access to this thread and help continue to grow our brand. So if you want the link, you can just shoot me a DM or just hit us up on Twitter, Facebook. I'm sure somebody will give you the link for the Discord.
Yeah, man, I saw that in there last night, and I'm super impressed by the tight knit community, and I saw the great responses where people were like, hell yeah, I'll help with that. So you love that when you're going down.
Oh, and Tacos Cujo, sorry, KU62, he joined up too. I don't know, they were talking about like they got into a taco talk, and I was just like, you guys, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it might sound that well. I don't know. You've never
those kind of tacos.
You never had my the ones from Chicago, the taqueria that.
Is that the one you got for us when we played up at? Yeah, those are.
You'd be talking some tacos if you had those.
Hey, the new hot thing
in Arizona. I had good tacos.
Have y'all seen these new Barria tacos that are getting over that are everywhere? They're like almost like an au jus type taco. They're here in Louisville because now it's getting over, but then now you already have the subculture of everyone's getting into the Barria tacos. It's but it's over with me. They get like this really deep fried.
You want the Jocko?
Yeah, that really deep fried crispy shell that they fill with the carnitas pork they slow cook and all the pico de gallo and everything. And then they give you this au jus type stuff that you dip in it. And there's really not too many places you can get it still, but it's like popping up in the foodie communities. But there's a taco truck that comes right by my house, literally just Saturday and Sunday. It comes around noon, and you have to get there early because they're up for about 2 hours in the line forever to get through, and then they're done. That's all they do. I was like, man, and it was over with me.
I haven't had that style yet, dude.
Whenever you come down.
Oh yeah, down where?
Huh?
Down there.
Oh yeah.
There's a new place here, Arizona Tacos, where they moved from Arizona, and everything else we got was Moe's. There's a couple places, El Jaracho and Pedro's, but they were still just like, here's tacos for white people. We don't really give a fuck. And I've had best of the best from the Mexicans in Chicago. So it was super satisfying to get just a flour tortilla, Mexican style, cheese, cabbage, and cilantro and onion with some chorizo. Man, that's my bang.
That sounded like my taco truck out in Washington at Tri-Cities. Lattice Tacos. It was just right there on the corner. It's bomb.
Nice. We love it. It's not Taco Tuesday. It's Taco Wednesday. So if you got leftovers, you can have them for breakfast. Nobody's going to judge you, infidels. Yeah, what's your taco spot? Let us know. Right down where?
Right down where?
But I know there's a lot of headlines, man, and tonight should be interesting. We were going to go live today on Twitch with Russo, but that got switched to start to next week. He just let me know. So if you guys were looking for that today, the kickoff is going to actually been postponed a week, but we're going to be on the front page of Twitch. So make sure you're subscribing to Russo, especially if you're a Street Team member, because that's what's going to get us into 10,000 random people seeing us on the front page of Twitch. So Russo's brand and Hamin Media Group are going to be featured, obviously, because Stevie and I will be plugging away and chilling, but to have you guys in there in the chat when that goes down next week is going to be huge, because then the people who are newbies are going to see that we have such a thriving community. We'll put over all the opportunities to interact. So that's really great work, Matt, this week in the Discord, getting that Street Team kicked off, and thanks to all the participants in there, dude. And right now, I mean, while we can't necessarily offer anything over time, this isn't something that's going to be forgotten. I know we've already had conversations behind the scenes talking about like doing raffles for you guys that are helping to push our stuff, like with exclusive merchandise, and as we get shows running again,
I started off shilling on Twitter. That's all I was doing.
We might be able to work in, hopefully maybe getting like some tickets for shows, like do a raffle for our Street Team and stuff like that. So our plan is to over time, as we're able to, obviously, to reward the favor as well, because we understand it's a labor of love, and you all do this because you love
we're doing, and we're just as grateful for it. So as much as we can, throw you all a bone and throw some cool shit your all's way, we plan to do that as well. So it also won't be for nothing. But anyway, it's a great way to help share what we're doing. If you're enjoying it, having a good time with us, then it's greatly appreciated to help share the love and get more eyes and ears on us, because that's just going to help us grow, continue to get cool guests, continue to cool opportunities, cool shows, and more cool things down the line as we continue to grow.
Got to say shout out to Wrestling with Tragedy podcast. We got 2/3 of the squad in the chat room right now, Kevin and Pierce. So USA all the way to Australia checking in here live at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. They put out great episodes every week, you guys. If you like this, crazy world of what's going down in wrestling with people cutting their own throats or doing, crazy things with drugs or the speaking out movement or alleged murders along those lines, that's what those guys are covering, man. So go on YouTube, check out Wrestling with Tragedy. I was on that show talking the Velveteen Dream controversy, and every week it's just really gripping content from the look of professionals in law enforcement, as well as being wrestling fans. And obviously the third co-host, Angel, the kingpin of the Baldies, in there too. So you got real ECW legends here tied to Russo brand as we keep expanding. And these guys are kicking ass. Also, if you're into belts and a belt collector, then those are the guys to talk to, man. They have the best deals going down with custom belt makers. They're going to check and make sure everything's done right, so you're not getting a half-assed product. And we appreciate partnering with those guys. They're just kicking ass and building great content, man. Proud of Wrestling with Tragedy. Check them out, you guys.
Yeah, guys. And like I was plugging over, as far as from our street team and everything we're doing, you can start anywhere on Hamin Media Group, and you never know where you're going to end up. I mean, shit. Even if you don't end up on a podcast bin, you could still utilize this platform in any way, facet, to enhance your own goals or hobbies, whatever you want to do.
I feel like I pay it forward enough to level up. But yeah, man, you're in the right spot with free thinkers who are pushing their own boundaries and saying, yes, I can, to even the biggest dreams. And then we find the way to make those things happen bit by bit. It doesn't happen overnight. And Wrestling with Tragedy knows that. And they are still as hungry as ever. You can see who's going to make it and who's going to create a body of work that will last maybe till after we're all gone. But that could be next month if Planet X does what I want it to. So we're going to have some fun here today. Impact Attack, last night's show, I don't know, kind of strange. I don't know how you guys felt about it. There was some good, really good stuff. And then there was some really Impact's going to impact kind of, you know what I mean? Tech issues, right? With commentary. I'm not sure if you guys saw that or not, or what was going on. I know during the...
I will be clear. I was a very bad podcast host in that I woke up late, and literally the only parts I did see all of Impact as much as what Impact wanted to show us on YouTube. So, right. But I did at least get the gist of everything. So I'm sure that did not come through on the highlights they chose to show. So that's interesting though.
Yeah.
You said there. So was it cutting in and out?
During the Rohit, Raju and Jordan Grace segment, there was no commentary.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, so that was a already not poorly executed, but strangely executed way to set that business up. But without the commentary to sell it, it made it even it felt like we were watching a rehearsal. It was weird. But he woke up quick at about noon, just thought he had to be in the chat room soon. He got to get drunk before the day begins, before K-Bob starts bitching about his friends. Got no podcast. K-Bob getting that first official whiskey look at the Drinker Down podcast, man. It's going to be a good time. Last night I opened a bottle of scotch, but I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Right. Oh, really? Wait, what scotch was it?
Dulmore. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's got a big old stag on the front of it. I took a little sip. It's definitely not as oaky as other scotches, so I'll be able to drink it, because that's the one thing because scotch is whiskey, right? But then it's got that big oak charred flavor, and I'm just not a huge fanatic for that. But this is a little bit lighter, so I'll be able to get through.
No that you're talking about almost that smoky flavor that scotch has.
Yeah.
It's called peat. Is really what the technical term, because I'm starting to learn. I'm getting into scotches, so I like the scotches that aren't as peated or very low on the ones that are really highly peated. I can't stand like ones that are, it's almost like you're drinking smoke. It's like your Johnny Walker Double Black, or there's another one that had Ardbeg or whatever you call it. And I didn't care for those, but ones I found that they finish off in like a sherry cask barrel or like a port barrel or something that kind of sweetens it up a little bit and takes down that smokiness. And you only get a hint of it versus it killing your palate. I like those a lot. Yeah,
I think this one's probably a lower on the peat list. Dullmore, and I just wanted to switch it up, but I went back to the old Kirkland.
I'll tell you another one you should try, though some people might crucify me, but I enjoyed it, is Glenmorangie, if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
But that was one that was kind of lower on the peat scale, but had a good taste to it. Good little sweetness, too.
As another birthday gift from Triple D from his massive collection, so definitely enjoying it as we watched along last night and played all kinds of tunes from 90s rock to hip hop to Les Miserables was in the cut last night.
Right.
But we're just having fun, man, with it as we watch along. So especially when there was no commentary, like, what are you gonna? Okay, so it was a good time.
All right, guys. So first story I've got here is kind of a repeat of history, if you will. So, of course, it broke over the last 2 days that Glow is canceled. It's not going to be picked up for a fourth season, which is interesting, of course, because the original Glow series ran from 1986 to 1989. Thereby, it only went a full 3 seasons as well. So it never made it past its 3 seasons in its original format. However, actor, comedian, and acclaimed podcast host Mark Maron, this is from ProWrestling.com, addressed the recent cancellations of his hit series Glow on Tuesday while joining his fans for one of his morning Instagram sessions. He went on to say that the reason I was given from the showrunners was basically a financial one, and that they didn't want to pay to keep the sets alive anymore. We've got 2 sound stages and office being leased, with these sets already being built because they were already started shooting. They were 2.5 episodes in. Maron ended up going on to note that we have a big crew, a big cast, a lot of people that are engaging. We know what we were going to be doing in May. And who knows what we were going to be doing in May? I'm sorry. Who knows if we were going to be a country come January that's functioning. It's barely functioning now. To make what we do just work, it does not sound like a fun to be on the set right now. But he went on to say that he wants to do a movie. He said, you don't want to do a show anymore. Let's make a movie. Let's wrap it up in a 2-hour Netflix movie that had the whole season laid out. We know sort of where it's going to go. Why don't you give the showrunners and the writers and the cast an opportunity to finish the story in a movie? There's more, but I don't want to go through all that. What are your thoughts, physical terrorist, Dr. Ted? Would you like to see maybe a recap of Glow, or were you even engaged in this second iteration of the series?
I'm going to let Ben actually take a guess on whether or not I've seen Glow.
I'm going to say no.
I'm terrible. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Ben.
Maybe some of the original he saw, but I don't think the new Netflix. He should. 2024, Man Beast will actually catch up with the reboot.
Yes. I'm terribly behind anything that's modern. Besides wrestling, it's took a lot for me. It took years for me to get out of the OVW bubble and watch wrestling on a regular basis again, and knowing what is going on after 1992, because that was about all the wrestling that I used to watch whenever I did watch wrestling with OVW, which is good stuff. And I think there's a lot of stuff back then that should be utilized today, but that's a whole nother conversation. But no, unfortunately, I've not seen Glow. I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to see all the seasons and then it wrapping up in a movie. So that's kind of cool. So at least I'll know when I start what to expect at the end. But unfortunately, I haven't seen it. But
yeah, by 2024,
anytime people that have a creative outlet that people enjoy and is well done, from what I understand, and it being taken away, that's sad in of itself, but everything has to come to an end, and it come to an end in a way where it can get wrapped up in a nice little bow versus it just ending abruptly and not having the opportunity to wrap up stories. So I think at least the performers and the creators get an opportunity to do that, because otherwise it really would be a shame.
By 2024, they'll actually have the movie done. So by then,
yeah,
it'll be great. Yeah. Right. What do you think about Mark Maron wanting to wrap it up? And what do you think about the symbology in itself that it only made it past 3 seasons? I mean, is that a coincidence, or is there more?
Well, there's a lot to this kind of that I think about in a lot of layers. It is. If they're saying it's because of COVID and that's the excuse, or if Netflix wants to pull the plug, well, if it's because of COVID and because the taping schedule and all that's effed up, well, how are you going to do a movie? Like, it's the same shit, so why aren't you doing the show? So that's a lame excuse. I think this show is great. I think Mark Maron is awesome, and I think this is the best vehicle, even better than the Mark Maron show, for Mark Maron in the history of his career. So if I was him, I wouldn't be doing this and towing this line. I would be fucking reaching out to the wrestling community and going, you guys get a hold of Netflix and save this show if you like it. And nobody's even putting that pitch out there. Other part of this, impact-wise, we see Taya Valkyrie looking great on the set. She was going to be in season 4. I think Ryan Nemeth, the Dolph Ziggler's brother and an OVW guy we came up with, and professional improviser as well, director and writer of the movie Heel, he was going to be in it. And who knows who else was getting a shot that was going to be their crossover into wrestling, from wrestling into mainstream eyes, even if it's on wrestling drama. So that's really shitty. I don't like that. But then now the other part of that, where this ties into AEW, and I know this is kind of where they were, because Luke Hawks, is working as a stunt coordinator on it and other things. But Cody, when he split off and was gone there after he got squashed by Brody, he was with Stephen Amell and QT Marshall and what's the dude from Arrow?
That was Stephen Amell.
Stephen Amell, sorry, QT Marshall and Cody. Yeah, so they are all training for their drama TV show to get pitched for Stars, and it was supposed to start shooting this fall. That's been pushed all the way to March. Who knows if that's going to get shelved? You know what I mean? Based on, because here's how the industry works. Somebody makes a move. Everybody waits until somebody is forced to make a move because of deadline and budgetary concerns. When they make that move, which is shutting down Glow on Netflix, that echoes through the rest of Hollywood or whatever is going on production wise, and will set the standard to possibly shut down that show as well. Because if they already pushed back production date and we're going into some other crazy part of whatever this social psycho experiment is that we're all taking part of right now, that's going to affect it too. So could we see 2 possible wrestling shows hit the deck on this because of they pulled the trigger, the other because of trend? I think they're very foolish, and Netflix is showing their stupidity with cuties and things like that of where they want to go with it. You know what I mean? Instead of feeding a demographic that's there to watch Glow. And
well, I like what you were saying at the beginning of that, though. I think that's one of the few things social media can be used as good for, is when you really start to petition something. We have seen shows that have been rejuvenated because of social action. So if the wrestling community and the people that enjoy the show were to mobilize around it, and it's going to take someone that's on the mainstream roster somewhere, like a Taya Valkyrie or someone that has more limelight in wrestling. Like I say, anytime you have an interview, also make it a point to say, oh yeah, and bring back Glow, and that's just a big thing. Bring back Glow, and just make it a big thing. And I wouldn't be surprised, again, if more people are talking about it and they realize there's money. And Netflix isn't stupid. If people are, again, getting behind it and want it to come back, and there's enough of a social movement, then they'll bring it back. But now it's up to the people that really want to see it.
Nobody even inside the show is like barking for that. And I think Mark is smart, and he's a very obviously super intelligent stand-up. That's the whole thing. He's going to toe the line, and Mark Maron, I'm sure he misses it and will miss the paycheck, but he doesn't really give a fuck, because I can almost guarantee that he's got 2 more stand-up specials signed with them. So he's going to dance and do whatever it takes, because he knows Mark Maron's going to shine individually no matter what. Glow helped him become more of a household name. Now they're used to him. Now he'll get 2 more shots on Netflix, and that's cute for him, but fuck everybody else, right at the end of the day. But welcome to show business at the end of the day, man. So
odd world, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, crazy mess of world.
Well, a couple things. Somebody asked about WWE being on Peacock. Yes, they did start that Fudge 20 back in August on the premium tier service, but it's not like live content. It's more like best ofs or compilations or documentaries.
That's more of on NBC's side than WWE.
Yeah, that's what I was addressing this question. Yeah.
Yeah. The way NBC had it set up is a big conglomerate with GE at the top, NBC, and then sparse out from there all of your affiliates from USA to whoever, right? Like the cable spectrum. maybe 16 to 20 of them. Each one of those channels, maybe not all of them, but the bigger ones, all had their own marketing team, all had their own, board of directors, all had like just a lot to do. So what they've done with this Peacock project is say, fuck all that. And everybody's coming in house. And now one marketing team of, they each might have had 2 or 3 people. Now we're gonna have a marketing team of 15 who handles everything, every channel. So there's a big realignment there, and they're just looking to get into the digital space using the best of shit that WWE knows isn't doing anything on their own network to feed the beast that way, to do good relations. And it's smart. Yeah, feed me more. He had a big week.
Yeah, I heard you guys talk about it on the Monday Locker Room. You guys can go back and listen to that episode. And Ryback even retweeted it and saw that. So
sure, yeah, that got a lot of
to reach out. I wonder, he'd be a fun one to get in on a locker room and go deep in on some shit.
Absolutely,
he wouldn't hold back.
No, he wouldn't hold back at all. So I know he's got irons in the fire, so I don't want to rock boat right now. But if he's Ryback's always welcome.
It's true. It's probably best for his sake for us not to have him on right now, so it don't mess up any potential sponsorships. But it's a fair point. Yeah, we probably shouldn't, because we'll purposely poke the bear, and we just know how that'll go. But we will in the future. But yeah, probably best not right now. But great dude, and glad to hear he's still working on. Well, I guess just being a businessman.
I got to know what happened between him. I mean, he told a story, but I want to know where his head's at with him and Pat Buck.
I do too. That's what I would want to ask.
I feel like we could actually help that. Not that.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we all were in the same locker room, but
we understand how both those men tick to a degree. What I mean?
Yeah. But and Buck can be an odd duck to work with a little bit, but he obviously is super smart and built a company.
I remember he takes things a certain way that's just weird. Like I remember when we worked on a live event or house show for OVW, we worked a 60-minute tag team match, babyface, myself and Adam Revolver against Chris Silvio and his partner at the time, Paradise James Long. And we worked a 60-minute match, and at the end they wanted 5 more minutes. And then I think we gave it to him and took it home. And it was a cool moment for us, because to get, a crowd behind 2 baby faces as a tag team going a full hour Broadway and then wanting 5 more minutes was a good feeling, because clearly we kept them intrigued that whole time. And then we got to the back, and your associate at the time, Ben Ali, Muhammad Ali Vaez, came over to us and was just giving us some critiques here and there, like, you all could have done this better or that better. And I appreciate that. I really do. Like, I want to know what I could have done better, even though it was cool. There's always things you can do to improve yourself. And then after that, I remember Pat Buck walked over to us and he goes, I just think that was disrespectful. You all just work for an hour. You all, no one should have anything bad to say to you all. And it's like, we don't take it that way, man. It's just, he's our friend and trying to help us. So I can see how, Pat Buck and sometimes take things, way more seriously.
He was hot at Ali. He was hot at
Ali. Yeah. And he came over.
Was I still there for that?
And I can appreciate where he was coming from. I really can. And it was like, man, we don't see it that way. I can appreciate the whole thing.
And I'll stooge it. I mean, I managed Buck after we paid off the Conway business, but it was the heat with him and Ali that made it like, awkward all the time. And obviously I got to toe the line for the insurgency, and Ali can be pig headed too, but Buck internalizes it until a point like that. He just stays silent, dude, until he does. You know what I mean? And that was strange to me. I think he had to get over that, because you can't be a leader of a company and still operate that way. I think he may have matured since we split off. I popped this week because when he came in to break up a fight, his hair was super red, like his natural red hair color. And I'm thinking to myself, have I ever seen Buck with super red hair before? Because he was always platinum Pat Buck or whatever. He dyed his hair for the Iron Man gimmick and all that stuff. It was funny to me. But yeah, I think if we ever have that chance and we can talk honestly like we are today, even if Buck's not on and Ryback says what he's got to say, maybe that will provide some understanding and we can hopefully move forward from a sticky situation.
I like that.
And that'll trickle up through the office too. That's the whole thing. Like, and then does that get us over? No. But does that get Ryback maybe the shot that he should be to have the main event at WrestleMania versus Braun or Keith Lee? that could be the pebble in the pond. And if that's where it starts here and there's nothing that we recoup from it, so be it. It's better for the industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Next story I've got up here, Ben, if you could give me a baby girl here, start off this story.
Baby girl, I've been studying unionism.
That's right. So Paige recently took to Twitter to make an interesting comment about how she's learning a lot about unionism at the moment. Of course, this is interesting due to WWE's recent changes now that they are not just taking control of AJ Styles' Twitch, but they're also taking control of whatever his full name is. Anthony Allen J Jefferson Parker, whatever Styles. They're taking his full control of his regular Twitch account as well. So, and according to the what's being reported by
how are they going to do that? He broadcasts from his home. He knows his Twitch stream key. It's tied to his bank account. How are they going to take it over?
They're going to take the different, I guess what they're saying, or at least what's being reported, is that the revenue received from Twitch will become part of the base contract. So like you'll either make your money from Twitch or you'll make your money from being in the ring.
Why and how? Like how can they, how does WWE say because you made money in your side business, that figures off of what we're paying you right now? Who at Twitch?
Well, according to Ryback, they own you.
Control.
Right?
They say control. How do you you only going to give them the control that you fucking will give that power to? They can't unless the Ali is back as the hacker and he's hacking people's Twitches and change fucking passwords and all that shit. Like, you know, like,
well, I mean, technically speaking, yeah, they can't take over his account like that. But I mean, from a legal standpoint, they could go after him and be like, you're in breach of contract because according to the bystanders of our contract, we own your likeness in all types of media format. In distribution, right? So they could go after him in that way. And if he's not being forthright with, let's say, revenue produced based upon his own Twitch income.
How do they know? How are they going to make you report that?
That's well, I mean, I don't know.
I go in this week. I go, I made $35 off of Twitch this week. Sorry.
Where did that story come from?
Well, then they're going to require those numbers. They're going to want the numbers.
Require it how?
They want, I don't know, down like a printout screen or something of your Twitch numbers.
Then what? Where are we?
A bank statement.
I just like the idea of
your
deposits. A lot of wrestlers with their print-off screens.
There is no way to force anybody's hand to do that. This is what I'm saying. It's an idle threat. You're gonna turn it over. Tell me your goddamn taxes. Give me Trump's gonna do his taxes. You're gonna do that. Yeah. And fucking like there is nothing. Like let's get the line in the sand. Give me the screenshot. I want to see what you made. Go fuck yourself, you old psychopath. Give me the screenshot. Like that's what it's gonna fucking be.
I want the print off.
I mean, I don't know. That's up to the library theater.
Right now. Thing. I would have somebody on camera on a cell phone. I'd be like, here's where we're at the line. Let's fucking roll tape. Let's go. I'm not giving you my screenshot, my Twitch information, my bank account information, and my stream key. You're gonna give me all. Like, no, I'm not. And watch them fucking throw a temper tantrum on the fucking ground. And that's how things apparently have to be done. Instead of people going, I better screenshot and send it to Mark Carano and Bruce.
Well, I guess here's more of a better explanation if I wasn't being more descriptive in the matter.
I would just open up a second Twitter and print off, or a Twitch or whatever, when you're not using it and be like, it didn't make any money.
Well, sorry. So WWE has announced that they have until, I guess that was 5 days ago, or they'll be subject to fines to hand over those Twitch accounts. So they basically they were going to be fined if they didn't hand over the accounts and logins from their accounts for YouTube, Twitch to WWE for them to now run. And if they didn't do that, they were going to be subject to fines. So that was the story. There's a story about it on Andrew Yang too, commenting on it on October the 3rd as well, which you can look up. So that's the full description. I guess that's how they're doing it, to answer your question. They've taken control. I got their accounts, pal.
How did they get control?
Well, they've taken over their logins. That's what I'm saying. They were told to hand over their accounts.
And if you
email them the username and password, and then they take over it. I'm not understanding your question, Ben.
How are you? Give me your name and password. Like,
I want the printouts.
And if you don't, then you get fined money, and that comes out of your wallet.
I think you have a massive legal case against them instantly.
Oh, I definitely am.
The second you do that, you've given up all of your power, dude. That is people showing up at your front door with no warrant and going, "We're coming in and looking for guns. We're looking for everything. We're looking at your wife."
Are we there now? I mean, are we there
and
now?
what's going to happen?
People should be fighting back. Yeah, people should be fighting back.
No fucking sense whatsoever. Team retard for the win.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's some conversation here in the chat room. People were wondering why don't they just delete all our social media? And Real Plaza noted they can't now. It's apparently in the contract they have to do Twitch and social media. So like it's they're contractually made to be minstrel puppets for entertainment purposes. And if you don't abide by said guidelines, then you're going to be fined and you're going to get a slap on the wrist, or your money's going to be taken away, or they're going to take over your accounts. And if you don't like it, then you'll just be let go. Which I mean, there might have been some dissension there. Even we don't even know about the whole Miro and Rusev thing. Maybe he didn't want people taking his shit, and he was like, "You're not taking my shit." And maybe he knew that was what's coming down the pipeline. I mean, I don't know.
If they signed me for $500,000, when they signed me for $500,000 or more, probably $750,000, because I'll say I want what that fat fucker over there is getting. There's no way. And I'll say you are delusional if you think I'm going to sign over any rights to the empire that I've created digitally to what's going on. You need me. I don't need you. You fucking don't even know how to run this shit, let alone use the new technology to its fucking height to get your storylines over, which you can't even do that on your own TV show. So shut the fuck up and shut the fuck up, and I will do my digital, and you don't get a cut of anything, because what I do on my time is my time. When I'm off the clock from you, that's how it goes down. So if they got a problem with that afterwards, fire AJ Styles, fire Pay, see what happens. See the blowback. If you think that's going to fucking be good for you, like this is the whole thing. The performers have all the power to hold their feet to the fire and say, make me fucking give you my password.
Well, I mean, it could be already in the contract that they've already agreed to, is what I'm saying. These people could have, I mean, these wrestlers in WWE with their corporate lawyers and whatnot could have already put it in there in the legality fees, you know, the legality sense of it. So let's say you don't turn over the YouTube account. Okay, now we're going to fine you. Okay, you're not going to pay the fine, and then we're just going to take it out of your check. Right. And then now it becomes a labor dispute, which they try to fight. But from a legality standpoint, if the contract states that you're not abiding by, you're in breach of said contract, then unfortunately WWE wins with all their lawyers versus maybe somebody who's not as equipped on a lower mid-card status or a mid-card status, or even, I mean, AJ Styles could defend himself, but is he going to want to spend millions and millions of dollars trying to fight this over his Twitch account?
He gives up his shit. They go in control. Then what do you do as a thing of social, David Thoreau, social disobedience, to say, fuck you. I would pick up the newspaper every day and I would sit there for an hour and read obituaries. Like, that's, if you want content, you're going to make me fucking do Twitter.
That's great. I like
Here's
that.
what I'm going to do. Go fuck yourself. Like, everything is a message of, from them, it's, you want to fuck me? No, fuck you. So you have to play, oh, you're going to fuck me? No, I'm going to fuck you. And I will do it in the most creative way to stay ahead of you, because theirs is so myopic and just a mafia. He made money, kick up to me. How's he making money without me? I made that name. Me, my, me. We'll see. You're not smart. You're old. You're at the end of your life. You have 6 years left to live. Like, this is what you...
Plaza points out that they probably when they got their NXT deal, they probably signed to that and got a Nissan Sentra. So it's probably
and got stolen.
All right. Well, that's all the top stories we have for now, guys. If you want more top stories, of course, you can listen to the Monday, the Wednesday, the Friday locker rooms. I'll have more, as well as the Raw and SmackDown review with Ben Hamin, Stevie Richards, and Vince Russo. And of course, patreon.com/RussoTWC for Master Shoot Cedar. Unless you guys have anything else to go over, I think we can get into Impact Wrestling.
No, man, that's all good stuff. Get hot early in the morning. I feel good.
I did want to touch on real quick, unless you're talking about the conspiracy horsemen. Did you see their Trump trying to deal with Regulation 230 as far as internet companies having responsibility for content that appears on the platforms and trying to make them responsible?
Part of it. I mean, everything's blowing up right now about the $1,200 payday and shit like that for the money to fucking keep us.
Will we get it? Will we not get it?
Well, this was Trump. Yeah, this was Trump, I guess, pushing something that wasn't factually completely true. And so Facebook pulled it and Twitter put a warning on it. And so now he's wanting to
to, I guess I guess it would be repeal Regulation 230, which basically saying internet like forum sites aren't responsible for the content that people publish. And I guess so that way they would be responsible, which is that's kind of a scary thought to think about. Because would that be the end of speech online? You know what I mean?
You broke
kind
up
of
there, Ted.
You broke up.
Oh, sorry.
Again.
I mean, as it's kind of a scary thought, because would that be the end of free social speech online if that's taken away?
Oh, I think it's the opposite. I think it's the empowerment of free social speech and going back to an internet roughly 1998-ish, before there was MySpace and Facebook, these collective entities where people can just go and have communities. What it'll be is a breakout of that, where it would be HaminMediaGroup.com, where our community is there and we foster our own, and there's no more big oversight from anybody else. It'll push you into smaller tribes.
You are my tribal chief.
And then you can
Thank you.
and then you can police it yourself and have that type of open thought. So I think we maybe need to go back to the IRC boards, the Discords, where we, it's our own Wild West town, and we're going to take care of business the way we need to, because they want us to put us through a meat grinder. Go ahead.
Yeah, but to Ted's point, do you think if look, hey, you're running the board, you own Hamin Media Group, we get a stupid mark who comes in, says some dumb shit, now they're going after you and saying you're responsible for this mark, I think is what he was more fearful, or ever bringing that up.
Inside like a Facebook thing, yeah, but I don't think if you own the property and it's on GoDaddy.
Well, that's what he's saying. That the bill is supposed to reappeal that. It's supposed to now make you responsible for the website and what your people say on your site, like, and how they act.
Yeah, but who's going to police you on your own site?
I don't know.
I guess if you're putting out that, if someone on your, well, you're right. But I guess if someone were to come across it, like if someone were to make some kind of false accusation, and I guess it's on the website, then the police themselves and pull it, versus, I don't know. It's
I see where you're going. I think the bigger thing is, the scarier thing is, for podcasters are going to have an FCC license. So, and I won't do it. We're gonna draw the line in the sand. Like, if we got to go pump up the volume, then that's what we're gonna fucking do, bro. Like, that's where the next big
FCC license.
Yeah, I know, right? To make money, because why? Because we've crushed the mainstream media as a truth medium, as podcasts get a 2-hour listen. You know how many fucking shows would love to have a 2-hour, like everybody's there for the whole thing every week. They can't, and especially if we're giving away for free like we are here at Hamin Media, there's no way to compete with that. So that's lost revenue and advertising. So they're going to turn around and go, look at all these podcasters. How can we capitalize off of them at $25 to $250 a fucking piece? Just like any wrestling fucking commission, anything like that requires you to have a license. A total work. They'll do nothing to help promote your show. They'll do nothing to get you on more major airwaves. It'll just be another tax and whatnot. And where are we going to die for our freedom of information? That's a hill I'm willing to fucking fight on.
Yeah, well, can't take away the power of the voice, man, unless you're willing to let them take it away.
Of course, you can hear
Trump is doing that, and it's on somebody else's advisement. And I also don't put it past 74-year-olds who don't know how to use technology properly to fuck things up as well. I think the next big bill, if it's coming from my generation, Generation X, there is a mandatory cutoff at 68 years old. You are no longer allowed to serve in any public office whatsoever. Zero. You are done. You have entered the age where you are now need to be treated like you're regressing as a child. By the time you're age 68, you're kind of in the mindset of a 17-year-old again, where you think you know everything, but you really don't know fuck all anymore about the world. And it starts going backwards from there. By the time you're about 72, you've got the social acumen of a 13-year-old, the vengefulness, and you're locked in your ways. And I've seen this again and again with billionaires to elementary school teachers. Like they just say ridiculous things that come out of their mouths, and you're like, okay, go play with your blocks now, go have fun. Like, you're out of the conversation. And now, so I think that's the next thing that needs to happen across this whole planet. If you're a septuagenarian, you're out of the game.
Well, I don't completely disagree with those sentiments. What I would say to play devil's advocate would be you still want to have representation for the old. I feel like a better standard would be the representation in politics represents the people in society, and we have a lot more younger people than we do older people. And not saying they should be disregarded, but if they're 15% that are over that age, then you can't have more than 15% over that age in government. Now, I agree with you. I think after a certain age, your ability to be able to just be sharp, you have more crystallized memory than fluid memory, and by that I mean you're more able to recall things from the past rather than have new quick thoughts. That's just a fact, and that's just as people age, they get more crystallized memory versus fluid memory, and that's part of the reason why I do agree with you that there should be more younger people in politics. But I think a way you can make it a fair standard would be simply to say, okay, no more than this percentage can be in office at any one time, and you have it set at ages, from 30 to 39, 40 to 49, or what have you.
You're dumb as fuck till you're about 34 to 36. You don't know shit. You haven't accrued any. You think you know it all. You banged all the chicks. You drank all the beers. You smoked all the smoke. You paid rent. You got a pat on the head. You got a little piece of paper on the wall with some sexy writing on it that says you're fucking smart, but you're really a debt slave. Then you get to that point and you go, wow, everything's a fucking work, and now I have to do it for myself. Then you bust your ass till your 60s where you're like, man, I hope I can retire off all this work that I fucking did. But I have something to actually offer society the next 8 years in the way of opinion experience. Past that, it's everybody in the conditioned method who think that they fucking know it all and that they have to dictate to everybody because they're losing power on their own life, and death is right around the corner, and that terrifies them. So they have to go even harder on the fucking other thing to show that they're fucking limitless. And the reality is they have no idea what's going on in the streets. They're completely disconnected, and we just keep submitting to this fucking the program that they're in, that these are the people that we want elected or that represent us. They don't even know that Tupac's fucking dead. Maybe.
I agree with that. I'm 32, and I can see like the end of where the door is. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna know shit when I get there. Like
when you were 27, you thought you had it wrapped, right?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I'm tour around and play music, I'm not famous.
I'm not saying like, oh, Hamin had it fucking clocked. I was doing cool shit then too, but like, you think you know it, but you don't know fuck all.
I was gonna say, and I had a mentor tell me once actually that the people that truly are the most intelligent are the ones that, as they gain intelligence, start to realize they actually feel dumber the more they learn, because the more you realize you really don't know, the more you start to really pick up shit, and the more you start to continue to want to explore and educate yourself to gain more knowledge, because you realize the more you learn and the smarter you get, truly, the more you realize that you never knew in the first place.
I went down a rabbit hole on Rick Stevens documentaries yesterday from watching one PBS show. I mean, I wouldn't have done that 5-6 years ago. What the fuck's wrong with me?
Right on.
It was good though. It was good shit.
We're gonna dumb you guys down because it's time to get to some impact.
Oh, let's do.
Well, before we do that, let's plug the sponsors. Go ahead and check out Russo Bro Coffee by visiting thebrosters.com. Pick up your bag of Russo Bro Coffee. The 15, 25, 30-pound bags are coming.
Is it up on the website?
5-pound bags? Is that what it is?
She just had to update it. Let me see. Might be up now.
Buy 5 bags and take a bath in it.
But the 5-pound bag promotion is done. I just don't know if she's got it up there. Let me see.
Or you could make like Braun Strowman likes to take syringes, vitamin B12 shots to the butt. Maybe you can do some Russo Bro coffee right to the butt.
I wasn't going to go there, but we'll go there. What's up, dork? Glad to see that you got busted with some pins, which is kind of stupid because you're already a monster. So do you really need to put on another 40 pounds of muscle mass with 0 fat content only to not really do anything and get over? Looked good this week too in camouflage pants and a black shirt. Never seen that before. If you need curly boots, go to stevetheshoeman.com. You can totally bite my look, my everything, and except for my promo and how to get over. That'd be something you might want to focus on, because everything else doesn't seem to be working to hide the flaws. So keep getting big swole, get an hour of sleep a night, and stay on that natural diet. Shout out to the Florida Pipeline.
Yeah, and Big Swole, he's going to be facing off against Serena tonight on AEW.
Yeah, Big Swole, Serena, yeah. So That's actually, I'm almost not half of that match is happening this early, but I'd like to build to that match. I think those are the two best female wrestling talents on the AEW roster for sure. As far as Swole's charisma and physicality, and Serena's acumen is unprecedented. So it'll be a good one tonight, you guys, no doubt.
But hey, Braun, if you want to lather yourself up with some oil, we got some fine artisan oil for you. Visit ZordosOliveOil.com. That'll make you smell good. So at least when you walk in the locker room, people won't be like plugging their nose up. They'll be like, all right, well, at least this guy smells okay.
I think it helps to heal injection points too. You can rub a little on.
Yeah. Rub a little on that. It's all natural. All right, guys.
Real quick, I did learn a new use for olive oil over the weekend. We put down new vinyl floors, and while moving furniture, we got a big scratch in one of the vinyl floors. And I was like, shit, what do we do? So I looked up some how-to videos on YouTube, and apparently all you do is you throw down a little oil-based liquid. So we actually just used some olive oil we had and threw it down there. And then you take a sponge, you rub it with the rough part, you rub it with the soft part, then you take WD-40, wipe it across and wipe it off, and it fixed it. It was crazy.
Wow.
But you can still tell it was there, but I imagine if we had used an ultra premium olive oil like Zordo's, it would have taken care of it. We unfortunately were saving money, pinching pennies, and we know better. Zordo's olive oil, the only ultra premium. And you really have to, like, I didn't realize till I was looking it up, you have to literally meet a certain standard to be able to call yourself ultra premium. Like, it's a legally protected term. And in order to achieve that, you have to like meet a certain standard that apparently is really hard to achieve. So I thought that was kind of cool. That's
not cheap either, dude. The test for it, I think, is like $1,500. And over here on the kayfabe military base, that's supposedly a tech park, has Solyndra Oil, which is a big olive oil distributor, and that's where he had it tested, and they were shocked because it's coming one pressing from Greece, from the Zordos olive groves. And it's not really, I mean, it's filtered and whatnot and everything how it needs to be, but they can't believe the purity of it, like higher than anything they had seen to achieve ultra premium status. So that is not just a marketing term when it comes to artisan food sources.
What you're saying is Triple D is pretty much the Walter White of olive oil.
That's not too off. That's not too
pretty much what you're saying is I need to find out how to become part of the Zordo's family. I'm
yes.
I need to.
Hey, dude, I'll tell you what. Right now, she might be a little too hardcore for her. We talk about Dimitri a lot, but there's another secret in the Zordo's family, and that's Rose, his sister, and she is I don't even know how to describe her. She's super smart. She's tiny. But she's one of the most badass girls I've ever seen in my life, dude. You think
we'll see if the Academy goes up on time this week for Triple D's podcast. I'll have to get a connection.
Dude, I'm telling you, Rose is like Annie Oakley, bro. Like she rides dirt bikes, she rides snowmobiles in dead of winter. She's always packing twin 9mm Glocks. She's got tattoos on the back for Second Amendment and Glocks on her back, dude. Like, and she's like, she's like the hot Instagram girl too. And that's Dee's sister, but she don't fuck around, man. Like, she is a badass, dude. And you wouldn't think of it looking at her. You're like, oh, who's a cute girl in the room? But legit, there's like a sawed-off shotgun in the office and shit like that, and she's like ready to go. She wants somebody to say something, dude. She's cocked and ready to rock all the time. So as much as we love Triple D for his big heart, man, and obviously being an incredible worker and what he does on ours, like Rose
is the nice guy of the family, is what you're saying.
100%, dude. 100%. Rose is not to be fucked with, but she's funny as hell too, man. So we'll see. Maybe she'll start being a character in the Hamin media world.
Well, as I was last couple things, guys, to start podcast, the Academy, Triple D's podcast they've done a name change. It's now being called the Academy. A Star Trek podcast as John Enright came on full board. So it's John and Triple D hosting that. So that'll be dropping tomorrow on Hamin Media Group's Podbean and feed. Now we have some podcasts up right now as part of the 6-star search. You can vote by heading over to our Twitter and our Facebook for the last week's first 3 contestants, that being the women, pile driver, men and sex, WPMS. Of course, 2 in with Sergio, and 2 in with Sergio and the vet, and the Boar Meets World podcast that Ben hates. So check those out. You can vote.
I don't hate their podcast. That's not do false news. I fucking hate I hate Boy Meets World. I hate the writers.
Boy Meets World. That's why you're getting votes. People are voting because they know Ben hates you, so they're just voting you. Just out of spite.
If that's what it does to F me over, then so be it, man.
It's a good podcast.
Yeah, I mean, downloads are downloads. I mean, if people are going to download it, then
just because I don't like something doesn't mean everybody else is going to fucking
right.
Like
I'm not saying they should,
but yeah.
But then, of course,
fight to fuck with me.
That comes down to really what the mission statement. It really comes down to your mission statement of how many media is. It's free thinkers, and you're regardless of what people think, whether they agree with you or not. So if people love Boy Meets World, then so be it.
Get Ben Savage on. I'll tell him the show sucked to his stream.
I've been trying to talk
about it. It was a shit show. You can't say it wasn't, dude.
Tried to talk to him a couple times. Well, of course, then that's the first round. So the voting is available. Now the second round started this week, guys. So right now on our feed is Rat Salad Review. So you can go check that out. Their metal music review group podcast. 3 guys who review different albums, and they actually get guests, musicians, like tons of heavy hitters from Guar. And this week they have got on Them, or the lead singer from Them. So go check that out if you're into that. And on Thursday, War on Morons drops. Saturday, the 10 Men podcast drops. It's a variety show, so look out for those for voting. And Impact Wrestling, let's rock and roll, guys. So
I kind of hate Rat Salad Review shit too. I hate Guar shit, but here we are. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not my bag of tricks, man. Is all. And people keep putting over Topanga. I was like 19, 20, 22 when they were like in junior high when that show was on. So when people like, I like Topanga or whatever, maybe when she was in high school she was hot, but like to me that's not some pedophile shit. So I'm never I'm into Topanga when she was in 8th grade, dude. So that excuse for Boy Meets World doesn't fly with me. So
you're more of a Winnie Cooper kind of girl, is what you're saying.
She was kind of too stuck up and bitchy for me too. Like I was what's the chick who was in the classroom with him that he had the crush on? That's my type, shorty. That's my type. Or when Soleil Moonfry came to the summer picnic and they were on the boat and she got her tits out. Like those are the fast and easy chicks I rolled with back in the day.
So Impact Wrestling, guys, starts off with their recap of what happened at Victory Road. We didn't watch Victory Road. I'm assuming none of us did.
I was flipping back and forth.
Okay.
Well, the highlights on YouTube.
Okay.
Well,
if you want to recap that at all before we start, anything you want to talk about?
Did anything of note happen?
Well, there was the Sami Callihan thing, right? That was really the only thing that kind of explained why he's in control of Shamrock now.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I think that was on Victory Road is what I'm saying. I think they Sami Callihan kind of gave an explanation.
It was weird, man. Like we pitched the cell phone control where he's chipped and you could use the Sammy hacker stuff and that makes sense. Tonight on their little vignette, Sammy's just doing an Ali on the get him. Oh, hell, I'll get him. Like Ken Shamrock, world champion UFC fighter. He's just going to start kicking the shit out of random people backstage doing assaults that he could be arrested for. Like this is where Impact's going to impact, man. Got to have some fucking at least suspension of disbelief creative where Sammy does do the hacker thing. Him just pointing at people and Shamrock fucking people up is so wrestling phony, in my opinion, and not the best use of Ken Shamrock. Why would he be under Sammy's spell?
Yeah, that's a good point. They really haven't explained why he's been under Sammy's spell. I would like to start off this Impact review by doing something really hard. Based on Ken Shamrock's, how he's evolved the last couple of weeks, I don't think I could take him with 10 guys.
With 10 guys now?
I'm going to need 20. So if you want to be part of the 20 guys that takes on Ken Shamrock with me, hit me up in the Discord. Let's do this.
I think so. You guys need a serious strategy because he looks tough to fuck right now. I would not fuck with him because it doesn't matter if you're one of the 20 guys. If you're getting in there, getting close, you're taking something and it's not going to be fun anyway. You cut it.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be the first ones. That's for the other 20 guys come in. Thanks for.
I love the physical terror lighting of the doctor right now.
Yeah, physical terrorist. He'll be there probably taking notes. He's not going to jump in. That's right. Take notes. So we get Brian Myers versus Tommy Dreamer to start off tonight. This is, of course, based on their previous interactions and arguing over. I guess I missed that episode where he I guess, interjected in a promo time. Both there and started by staring each other down. This ended at a DQ, though, as Brian Myers ended up losing it and uses the kendo stick on Tommy Dreamer. And then people came out, Scott DeMore and everyone, and tried to break it up. What do you guys think of this match to start? Ben, I'll let you start there since you probably have more details itself.
Just a huge mark for Dreamer always, man. Maybe it's just me loving ECW so much, or even when I'm in the ring with him or working a show with him, like just to look over and be like, that's Tommy fucking Dreamer, bro. It's always a good feeling. Like, doesn't matter where I'm at on the card, like the look in the, like, you know, the locker room, be like, that's where I am right now. That just is a cool thing. And Tommy's going all in on this. A guy who could mail it in performance wise, who's, you know, obviously in the ends of his career body wise. I'd like to see Tommy be able to shave a couple pounds just for his own health. But this is classic Tommy Dreamer match, and it had stakes with the teacher and the student, you know, and I thought it was a good way to kick off Impact. And I was glad that it ended the way it did, because that means I'm going to get more of it, because I've been really into this feud the last 3 weeks with Tommy's promo, telling him to clean it up, the seriousness of it and whatnot. It's really one of my favorite things on Impact right now, just because I am a Dreamer mark, and I want to see Hawkins succeed, and he's never really had an angle with any teeth to it to allow him to do that. This has more emotion than almost anything I've seen in his career so far, from Major Brothers all the way up through.
Now, Ben, I have to ask, only because I know you've analyzed Tommy Dreamer's work to the point that you know he has his A, B, and C match. Which one was this? This was
his B match right here. When you take him out and walk him around the ring to do all the stuff, you know that's what it is right there.
Okay.
Yeah, the super basic one is going to end with is going to have the ring bell dong spot in it. That's the A match. The B match goes outside and does the fucking drop toe hold onto the chair and shit like that. And then the C match is usually what it takes to fit the storyline and go hardcore, which I think will be the payoff. It was almost the C match on Victory Road, but I think we're going to get that going forward from here.
Like it.
And I really don't like them super thin and wafy. Like, I like women before they fuck their heads up, you know, with whatever they did in the magazines in the 90s with the Dove soap girl and all that, making all girls. Kate Moss, you got to be 104 pounds, dude. I'm on some Marilyn Monroe shit, man. I like my women to look like women.
Women to look like women. All right. Well, after that, we had after the post-match scrum, then we went to a video package with Moose as we see him in the gym, just searching high and low for his self-proclaimed championship. The story being tonight, this was set up for his EC3 was going to have a funeral for the TNA World Heavyweight title. Nothing really to talk about here. Just Moose moving around the back locker room. With
just looking through everything through the show, like no rhyme or reason. He's just in a parking lot looking in garbage cans now. That's how obsessed he is. That kind of made me laugh a little bit.
But that was about it. That was the backstage segment. Then we went to,
somebody had pointed out, how about and it doesn't matter because he's a heel, so he can wear funny shit. But
the shorts,
like dressing a 6'8", 30-year-old pro athlete like a 12-year-old, you know, was ready to go to beach day. You know, like that there's just something about that. The I don't know it's not really the feminization of the black man, although they've done that in plenty of ways and had that argument. I think Moose makes that choice himself. Nobody's telling him to do that. But as a heel, like I said, getting heat any way possible is fine. Maybe that's a conscious choice, but I don't know. I'm just not down with that, with like dudes dressing like little kids for some reason. It's weird to me.
Okay. Definitely understand.
All right, fine. There you have it.
Yeah. Backstage now we go. Johnny Bravo. He meets up with several of course, the Wrestle House cast members who are there to inform them that his wedding is costing him a lot of money and he needs their help to pay for it. So he, he's talking with, I believe it was Falaba, and Falaba comes up with, he tells him, as the best man, I will get you the money. Don't worry about it. And then he takes off, and then Johnny Swinger's all like, ooh, look at me, I'm the best man. And then Crazy Steve's like, well, hey, if you would just give him some of the money you got off your gimmick table that you got in that fanny pack. So this was a little funny segment. What'd you think, Physical Terrorist? Did you get to see this?
Wait, which one was this?
They're backstage for the wedding party guys getting shit
They
together.
didn't put it on YouTube, those assholes. It sounds hilarious.
Yeah, it was good interaction. Fala just powders out to go on the next part of his mission. So this is the pebble in the pond for the guys to go and do their thing, and it also spins out into the business for the tag match with Crazy Steve and Swingman together. So it was all right, and we can even fast forward into later when Fala goes to get the money out of Supermax's pocket or whatever while he's in the shower, and like Fala, he gets it, but Fala sneaking in anywhere is funny as hell to me. Like, this is where we could have punched up with a little underscoring music and pizzicato strings of the tunk 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 tunk, because he's a fucking sumo, and a sumo trying to sneak anywhere is hilarious. You know what I mean? There was a lot more opportunity for comedy there, where we could have suspended our disbelief just a little bit and gotten a little more out of the scene.
Well, then after that, we go to the ring as we're going to see the next Rohit Raju defeat Rohit X Division challenge. And Raju grabs Mike before his match and says he's the most generous champion out there. He believes that no one will take advantage of his challenges because he is one step ahead. He knows who thinks he can defeat him. It's Willie Mack again, though, who believes he comes on out and he says he wants another crack at an opportunity of Rohit Raju. But as Matt comes down in the ring, Raju tries to shoo him away. He says, he gave him a chance already on Sunday. He wants a new challenger. And then we get Jordan Grace, who comes out, and she answers the call, which was a little confusing. She's not had any implication before that she's making the transition into the X Division champion or that she's had any interest. She just recently lost her title against Diana Perrazzo, and now she's being thrust in here. This wasn't really a match. It was just a quick roll-up, and Jordan Grace wins. And I had, like the other, probably most viewers, thought that the X Division championship was on the line. So initially, I was pretty furious. I was like, what the fuck? They just put the title on Grace? And then, of course,
they did right before you go, they did a tug of war where Willie Mack grabs the belt, Rohit catches him. It's tug of wars can be awkward if the timing's not there, and this kind of was, because Rohit's let's go, and then that's right where the roll up happens. So it wasn't just roll up out of nowhere with his back turned, but with no commentary. Like I said, this seemed like a rehearsal and not anything in the timing.
That's interesting. On YouTube, they did have commentary, so I guess they added it back in. There must have been a tracking issue. Yeah,
because there wasn't on the
live feed,
the live stream, and then everybody was kind of confused by that because it didn't tell the story that it wasn't that to go along with it. And then Rohit does the promo to save it. It wasn't for the title. It wasn't for the this or that. And that is basic 101, not basic, but classic 101 heel shit of how to get out of something. You're fucking your audience over. However, we all had that feeling when she comes out like, oh, we're getting another Tessa fucking thing, dude. They're going to force this down our throat. And then he weasels his way out of it. And all that segment was like, shout out Rohit, huge fan of everything he's doing. And I like this.
He's good.
Yeah, I liked everything he did in here. It just didn't feel it because the crowd's not there, because of all these external factors that would have really helped this scene. But then when he goes to the back, I got to fucking give the award this week again, like I did last week, to the boss, dude. I got to like the promo that's D'Amore cut backstage on him. There was like this disingenuous but buddy worker promo where he's saying, I know all the game and you're the best. He's just putting him over with all the bullshit. And next week you're gonna have an even bigger chance to give people opportunity. He names all the dudes he's fucked over along the way are in a scramble match to do that. And then he leaves with high energy, like, yeah, opportunity, where he knows he's fucking him over in a fake wrestling front-faced way. That's really good stuff, dude. I really like that's written and performed. I think that's excellent. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I liked it too. I liked Scott D'Amore. He was really good in this show in general. We'll get to it later as well. The best thing on Impact, but Scott D'Amore meets him by the curtain, as you mentioned. He congratulates Rohit Raju for his open challenges. Says, I'm just so excited that you're giving people opportunities and you're going out there because you wanted the opportunity for so long, and then you got it. You made the best of it. You became the X Division champion. Well, now I know that I've got a great opportunity. We're gonna give a bunch of people opportunity, and he names off the fact that he's going to defend the title now against Willie Mack, Chris Bay, TJP, Trey, and Jordan Grace in a 6-way scramble at Bound for Glory for that X Division championship. So there you go. You're caught up, physical terrorist, if they didn't show that on YouTube.
Yeah, it was a good scene. And like you said, we'll get to the other scene later. That was excellent too. And he also had a really great one with Eddie Edwards as well. So not on this show, but the week prior. So the Scott D'Amore, man, as a office guy on camera as a position of power, we pretty much have him, Adam Pearce, and Khan once in a while. I think D'Amore is the most powerful looking executive on camera in wrestling.
Yeah. Well, then we went backstage again, followed by finding Hernandez. You mentioned found the money, so we don't need to go over that again. We then go to another Victory Road tag team rematch with Triple XL versus the Rascals. You didn't like this match? I
thought this was the time for Triple XL to eat them up. I thought Triple XL should have beat them in 4 minutes. It went too long, especially for Triple XL to lose. I love the Rascals finish, that backflip, fucking push them. So cool, so innovative. If I was a kid, I'd be fucking pumped every time. Like, here it comes, da da da. And there's a lot you could do to tease that finish and thwart it, where people go, oh, I fucking thought he had him. But I think this was Triple XL's time to show how big and strong they are coming off of Victory Road. And it doesn't hurt the Rascals to take a loss to guys who are 400 pounds each. No one's going to go, Rascals suck. It's believable that a 400-pound guy falls on you when you weigh 165. You could just have AC doing the fish out of water on him, a beached whale. He ain't going to be able to kick out of that, bro. Like that, even if you want to do comedy, that's enough. Them losing to Triple XL wouldn't have hurt them here, and them winning hurts Triple XL and doesn't do a ton for the Rascals, in my opinion here.
I'm not a big fan of the title of the finisher. I think it's called the Hot Fire Flame. I think that's a little weird, but
yeah, that's not the most catchy thing, because it's a cool move, man.
Yeah, it's a cool move. Ted, did you get an opportunity to get a recap on this match?
Yeah, I did see this match, and the highlights look good. I do agree with what Ben said, though, as far as, for the opportunity for the XXL to look good against the Rascals, because it doesn't hurt the Rascals to take a loss. But, based on what I saw just as on the highlights, it looked like it was, well executed match. Like it looked like it was, hard hitting, nothing looked bad. And
did one Triple XL guy take out the other one before the finish?
Yeah, Larry D kicked out Wentz, but the Wentz locked like a sleeper hold, and then Larry grabbed Wentz up by his neck, and then Dez ran to break the grip. There's a kick to Larry's spine.
Oh, yeah, but we did a double take him out. That's fine. But here's the problem. We see these guys who are massive versus guys who are whatever. And the reality is, if you're that size, if Matt, you're the size you are, and we were going to shoot, fight, and whatever, even if you knew, all I got to do is grab you in a bear hug and give you a belly-to-belly roll and fucking slam you to the ground, and your air is coming out of your lungs, right? We know that's how it would go. And I know you're tough and you can beat Ken Shamrock, but like, let's say it's not me and you, anybody of that size difference. So they're not getting over the guy's size in the finish, which is what's important. So there should have been a spot where it's set up, in case I missed it, please school me in the chat room, where it looks like they're on top. The Triple XL's on top, and it's something shoot reverse, and Larry D takes out AC. So the big man takes out his own big man, and you're putting over his size. Then those guys can converge and go in and do the Velociraptor takeout on them the way they need to. But for them to beat both of those guys isn't the right way. We were not putting over the magnitude of how big those fuckers are.
Yeah, the only thing I wrote down here is Larry D sent Dez out of the ring, and then he was distracting the referee while Romero tried to put the beat down on Dez. So I didn't really see the kerfuffle, if you will, like that.
Right.
But yes, as you mentioned there, the Rascals pick up the victory here. And, I guess they're trying to reclaim their spot within the Impact Tag Team division. I don't know about that.
There's more of a story in them losing than there is them going over there.
Well, Jimmy Jacobs has got a story as he checks in with Rich Swann's doctor to see how his road to recovery is going. Swann's doctor says he's in good shape and he's ready for his championship match. Before Jacobs, though, can get a word in with Eric Young, with Swann, then Eric Young comes in, who's dressed as a nurse and attacks Swann's repaired leg. I thought this was pretty good, and you made a good joke on live on Twitch. Hey, at least the doctor's already there.
Right. Well, if you're going to get hurt, at least you're at the hospital where the doctor is. You don't got to fucking pay an ambulance, and they can fix you quicker. This fucking popped me because I didn't notice Eric in the background with the mask. Right. And it came out of nowhere, and it was
you saw the nurse, and kind of like, that nurse's ass looks like it's kind of. Then I was like, oh shit, that was Eric Young. That's why that nurse's ass is in shape.
Oh wow!
I was like, damn it,
that's a guy.
Damn scrub pants.
The doctor's reaction could have been a little more believable. I would have liked it if Eric laid out the doctor. Like that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But there should have been some call for security. Hey, what the fuck? Security, right? It should have been at least some sort of realistic to that scene.
And then he slams his leg on the fucking weight bench, and I'm like, oh, so dangerous. So looks so good on paper, but that's fucking so dangerous. You can't tell a weight bench to go, hey, we're gonna do a working shot on you now. Hey,
right.
Like that shit is always looks good in your head as a movie, but they really could have broke Swann's ankle there just fucking around doing something stupid again. Like there was the opportunity to do that. Jimmy Jacobs in this scene was way unnecessary with his beautiful hair. To like it pretty much showed that, hey, guess who's the producer of this scene? But I'm going to come in and do some predicated plot setup to get myself over as the interviewer as well. You know what I mean? Like didn't need that. We could have just gone with a one shot with the doctor, billboarding it and putting it over. Maybe his delivery wasn't there, and that's why they needed Jimmy Jacobs to kind of spoon feed it. But him being there took away from the reality of the scene that Swann's at physical therapy right now.
Yeah, because it really does. In real life, you're not allowed to take pictures or anything inside a clinic.
I was going to say, why didn't they have Dr. Ted? You could have had physical terrorists in there. Are you going to show up at the next scene to terrorize?
I was in the front holding the door shut. And I said, Eric, do your worst. And that's what happened.
All right. Well, I just got the Stooge report. Backstage. Hey,
who's over there on table 3? Is that bitch taking a break? Eric, take her out.
Well, Gaia Miller was trying to get the Stooge, and she was talking to Motor City Machine Guns before their match with Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Alex Shelley said that Austin reminds him a lot of himself at 23. While making their comments, the Good Brothers interrupt their interview. They say that Bound for Glory, they're going to take the Impact World Tag Team Championships away from the Motor City Machine Guns. And the Motor City Machine Guns say, good luck with that. Did you get to see this? Did they have this on YouTube, Mr. Ted? You didn't, unfortunately. Well, it was a decent scene. It was okay. I mean, I felt like the Motor City Machine Guns were okay in this scene. I liked at the end of the scene, like I think the big, what are they calling themselves? Big LG and whatever. I don't know. They don't have a team. So whatever they're calling themselves as a team name, were walking. The Good Brothers, I'm sorry. So there's the Good Brothers were walking away. They're jaw-jacking. And I think it was Alex Shelley said, or it was Chris Sabin, I think they might have been talking about Japan. And he was like, yeah, well, one time you pissed yourself on the airplane or something like that. So like that popped me because he just threw a little comment in there.
But no, probably it's true.
It's probably true, right? Yeah. And the Motor City Machine Guns basically are told by the Good Brothers that they're going to be protected tonight. The Good Brothers want to make sure that they get through the match in one piece because they want to be the ones to beat them for the titles. It was a babyface promos, if you will, with Shelley and Sabin being their witty, comical selves, or at least attempting to. After that, though, we then went back to the ring for a knockouts tag team match with Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie taking on Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. So the team started off just by going back and forth, exchanging some words. Taya Valkyrie plants Hogan onto the mat. Then she sent Hogan to the corner, landed a chop, then smashed Hogan with a boot, hip attack, and a double knee attack. And then the match continued on. Rosemary got in, landed a powerful suplex, and then tagged. And then as Hogan crawled over, tag and steals, Rosemary flew in with the Superman elbow. And then we went to our first commercial break for this match. We came back from the break, and we ended up seeing Hogan coming back as a legal woman now. This ended up breaking down, of course, with all 4 women, eventually with a Rosemary pounding steel on the mat with the as above, so below, and she gains the win for her and Valkyrie. The winner of this match was Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. Once again, there's certainly, while there might be some tension there, they're certainly picking up victories as a team, Ted.
Yeah, certainly. I thought it was fine. It's always a nitpicky thing of mine, and I feel like I say it on every review show I ever do, but I'd hate when they bury finishing moves. Like we saw Taya have the hot comeback, hit the big power bomb, and then Kira just kicked out. But how much more heat would it have been if instead of Kira kicking out, if the move would have been broken up? You know what I mean? Like then that's a bigger dip in the match, and that makes it more exciting than just kicking out of it, and then you're still putting them over anyway. And I don't know, it's just a nitpicky thing, but at the same time, I truly feel like it would have created more stakes to have it be broken up versus just allowing them to kick out, because now every time that happens, it becomes less and less believable as an actual finish. And that's just, again, my nitpicky way of looking at it.
No, I think that's an excellent point, Ted. And you know, for someone who says that they were in the bubble for so long, I think a lot of casual fans agree with that sentiment as well. In fact, not to give a cheap plug here, but they are part of the 6-star contest search. The last podcast is going to be on this Saturday, the top 10 podcast. He's playing smart to the audience, guys. He's giving you guys the top 10 wrestling finishers. And one of the things he mentioned to me was the fact that he didn't like, that he remembered back in the day that one finisher was it. It would get it. Now, he'll turn it on. Maybe his cousins or little brothers or family members watching it, and he'll see that it takes like 3 to 4 finishers to
and listen, I'm not opposed to occasionally using a false finish, but that's what's going to make it more meaningful. Imagine if on television there was never a false finish ever, but on the pay-per-view occasionally there was. Oh, holy shit. Now it's meaningful. On TV, if you see a finish, it's over. But on the pay-per-view, like that's when they should be doing the false finishes, not on television where it becomes overexposed. And over time, everything means less. And then these wrestlers take more and more risks to try to top what used to be, a finish, because now it's just a transitional move. Or at the very least, go back to, people say, well, all these old people don't like false finishes. It's not about that. There's a difference between a false finish and a near fall. I mean, you could do something like that where you blow a comeback and then end up with a small package or some other way to look like you might win without dominating with a finishing move and then burying it.
So one thing I think that they've overused too much, like as far as in wrestling matches over the last couple of years, is like when the competitor is down and near the ropes and they break up that pinfall by using the ropes. Like as a kid growing up, I fucking hated Triple H because he's always good at being in the right spot to break up that pinfall. And I fucking hated Triple H. I was like, you motherfucker, right? Because
that's what a heel does, buddy. That's a heel move.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So like the art of that is seemed to be lost because either overutilized too much in matches, or as you pointed it out there, there's just too much of the false finishes instead of near falls, if you will.
Yeah.
So Ben, we just got done talking about Rosemary Taya Valkyrie tag match. You have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, beautiful women, all of them sexy in their own way and outshining every other women's division in wrestling, in my opinion. The girls at NXT have no clue what they're doing. Their agent has no clue what they're doing. Their other agent is obviously having a world of troubles right now with her own, getting busted for DUI assault. AEW can get on the right track because now they've got Deeb. I mean, before that, they were in an abysmal way, hurting their top talent and doing whatever they want to do for some social justice push. And Impact has all these characters that are very well crafted, from the nice girl Kylie Ray to the multi-layered Mankind knockoff of Su Yung to Taya Valkyrie being a top, bitchy Valley girl heel if she wants to be, or just being a badass, kind of like she looks to me like a heel from Superman. Like she'd be, you know what I mean, a badass super chick that comes down to fight Superman. And then, you know, even with Rosemary, looking great for the, you know, Marilyn Manson's type crowd if you're into the goth shit. And then they even actually do something that WWE can't even begin to do. They show the girls backstage watching the match and scouting intently. They don't show that from other people in WWE even now. So they did a lot of right to set up not just what was going on in the ring, but to make their whole division here. And I think Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz are very good together as well, man. And somebody asked in the chat, should they have a women's tag belt? I don't think we need belt. Like, right. You know what? Like they're doing good stuff. It's different. They can each work individually. The storyline of the wedding party is what ties them in together. Women's wrestling, a tag, that's all you need as a feature. I think this was probably one of my favorite segments. Like I like Dreamer and Hawkins. I like this. And I like Scott D'Amore's thing with Heath Slater. I thought those were 3 real high points on the show.
Well, following that, we then came back. We got another match, the Deaners versus Crazy Steve and Johnny Swinger, which had been set up from the Wrestle House segment earlier. So that's why this match came about, Ted, since you didn't get to see it. But they start off with Jake handing Steve a beer. Steve took the beer and makes it his pet monkey drink it, which I thought was kind of funny. Swinger is livid by Steve's comedic approach, so he tags themselves in, and you know, Jake smacks Swinger around, a couple shots. Those guys go back and forth. Steve eventually Swinger eventually does try to like use a monkey to pick up the victory. He's trying to use some weapons, the chain and the monkey. And Crazy Steve doesn't like that, so he takes his pet monkey away from him, gets out of the ring. This distracts Swinger, and Cody catches Swinger with the Diener DDT and gets the victory here. Short match, about 5-6 minutes, but that's all it really needed. I liked it. I enjoyed it. What did you get to think? Physical terrorists. Sorry, I'm getting tongue tied here.
Mm-hmm. Right, I thought this was a good piece of business, and this is where. So, what was the business of this match?
Business of this match was to create more dissension between Crazy Steve and Johnny Swinger.
Bingo. And at the same time, a secondary. It wasn't the reason, but it also was a vehicle to help elevate the Deaners. But the business was all about Johnny Swinger and Crazy Steve. And so the fact that you're able to pick up on that means they did the business. They established that story, and now we furthered the context of the relationship between Johnny Swinger and Crazy Steve. And I imagine eventually it's going to come to a head eventually.
Veronica has electrolytes.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a great example, I think, actually, of what I like to write and do once in a while, because you're not always going to be in the top of the storyline. You're not always going to be the main thing, but every detail is important. And if you're going to hold that like it's your reality and your detail and somebody else's greater business, the wedding stuff, the inside the wedding party, and that's what it takes in these matches that don't really mean much. You know what I mean? They're going to work old school Swinger style. They're not going to do. So the match doesn't mean shit. It's all about the entertainment that falls out around it. So I got big respect for all 4 of these guys in this match. So the match didn't have any stakes except to further their storyline. I like Crazy Steve's line later where he calls him a young boy, or earlier, and he says, I'm 107 years old. It's those attentions to detail that, I have 432 wives. I'm the 19th prince of the House of Saud. I was in the Battle of Tora Bora. I escaped Guantanamo Bay and swam to Florida because I'm a good swimmer. Like all that kind of shit. All of those tiny things that will never play out are part of the backstory. But when Crazy Steve has believed that for fucking 10 years while he's been Crazy Steve, and he can just say I'm 107, that he's been holding on to that card for 10 years to play it, and now here's the perfect time. I love that kind of stuff, dude. And this is so far down the line on the booking sheet, but the details matter, and all 4 of these guys are professionals who make it work. They're not upset that they're the throwaway match here, because what happens here will eventually end up in a semi-main event between Crazy Steve and Swingman.
And don't get me wrong, TV time is TV time, no matter where you're at on the card. It's always valuable. No matter if you're winning or losing, you're getting time to do business. And that, as long as you're getting TV time, you're not getting buried. Getting buried means you're not doing anything.
I think, well, in WWE, it can mean getting put through a table by Nia Snax 3 weeks in a row. But,
yes.
Yeah, I think everybody on Impact knows and realizes the value of what you just said, more than people on AEW, more than people in WWE. And I think that could be D'Amore and Dreamer driving that into their head, saying every second you're on TV is your opportunity. Because I see everybody on this show, even if the creative's not that good, well, I don't want to slam them, but Willie Mack kind of mails in some performances and things along those lines. I don't think they know the value of what it really is to be on there. But these guys all do, that's for sure.
The real conspiracy is Ben and Russo are consulting for Impact, and they're not telling us.
Yeah, well,
all of us.
In my free time, right? That I'm always doing. Here's my first consultation for them. Turn the commentary on during the match.
That'll be $100,000.
Right. Oh, we can't afford that, sir. We see a recap of Deonna Purrazzo's match afterwards with Susie from Victory Road, where it's being reported, or at least Josh Matthews is now reporting, that Purrazzo broke Susie's arm, and there's no set date on when Susie will return. After watching that clip, we then get Gaia Miller interviewing Kylie Ray about Susie's match on Saturday. Now, Ray's furious that Purrazzo injured her friend. Kimberly interrupts her interview by taunting Ray for sticking it up for Susie, and then Ray loses it and beats the living daylights out of her. Now Ray can't believe she's got much rage in her. So here's my thoughts, and then I'll let you go. I liked this, but to use Ben Hamin's terminology, I think this could have been just punched up a little bit more by not letting Kimberly talk, because I felt the emotion from Kylie Ray, and as soon as Kimberly came in, that's when Kylie Ray should have taken her out. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Kimberly really made this scene wrestling fake.
It dipped.
The acting dipped down, and it wasn't necessarily, I mean, it was because of the performance, but the content that she had to deliver just wasn't there. And it wasn't enough for Kylie Ray to be triggered to that. So we had to wait for bad monologue to get to the action. You're right. We definitely should have gone right to the action that way. She could have just come in and laughed and started to say one word, and she jumps on it. You know? To wait for these predicated lines where we're like, okay, we're acting. This is acting, and it's not the best, you know? And that's one of kind of the first misses for her, because the last 3 weeks she's had really good performances in ring and as a supportive character. So kind of felt bad for these girls in this. And Kylie Ray was too upset already. We need to see that build. She was sweet Kylie Ray last week. This week she's on the brink of madness. Like, that's like a 3 to 4 week, let's get the steam really cooking in the teapot before it blows the top off, you know?
Yeah, all I kept thinking was when Kimberly was talking, I was like, why aren't you attacking her? Like, you were so pissed. Like, you're upset. Like, you just explained how. I'm like, just attack her, beat her ass. And then she did it. I was like, okay, well, at least they did it. Like, they didn't just let her leave the scene. Ted, did you get a chance to see this all? Did YouTube showcase this great bit of acting from Kimberly?
I guess it wasn't up to their YouTube standard because it was not put on there. I have thought it in the past watching Kimberly. I think she's a great talent as far as in ring goes. I think she's more than capable, but I do feel her acting capabilities and character work does leave some to be desired. And it would certainly behoove her to work on developing that further. bookthedoctor@gmail.com. Reach out to me and be glad to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I'm a little bit cheaper than Ben is, just a little.
Well, I mean, I'm still working on tech issues. We haven't even
So immediately following all this, then we went to probably the best backstage segments of the whole show. Scott D'Amore, he sits down in his office. He's ready to talk with Heath Slater. He takes off his mic headset, all that. And it definitely gives you more of the real vibe, like you're watching, as you guys have pointed out on the Raw and SmackDown review show, more of that backstage feel where it makes it look more reality based. D'Amore admits that he wasn't sold on Heath in the beginning.
I just stopped before I forget this. Sure. You're right on. We've talked about this on Russo brand, Hamin brand. I want to see when Brock comes through and is pissed off that he jobbed to Seth and has to whips the title against the wall. We want to see that. I saw on UFC this week when they were in United Arab Emirates, and one guy just got like punched out, like he got hit with like 50 shots, like while he's on the ground like this, not defending himself, and the ref didn't stop it, and Dana's phone was getting blown up by all the fighters going, the fuck is up with this ref, dude? This guy just took 30 shots more than he should have, because the ref didn't stop it. And Dana was fucking hot, and he put the here, he goes, this fucking ref, he goes, he's not working here anymore, fuck this idiot. Like, that's what we want to see. And UFC did it, and they didn't do it. They did it in a working but a shoot way, because it's a shoot, or should be. And maybe that guy never made it out of the UAE. They know where, but what have you. They put heat on the guy in public and showed what the fuck up is. This with D'Amore is, blurring those lines. And I think it was very good.
Yeah, and so as he continued, D'Amore tells him that he believes that Heath is worthy of being part of the Impact family. He tells D'Amore that his brother, who's a lawyer, helped him create his contract. So they, D'Amore then rolls up his sleeves and they start to, quote unquote, negotiate. But what it breaks down to, of course,
too, like Heath had one and D'Amore had one drawn up.
Right. So D'Amore shows his contract to Heath. Heath doesn't like that contract. And so they bicker back and forth. Eventually, though, Scott D'Amore more or less kind of breaks down here, and he ends up leaving the scene, throwing Heath Slater's contract in the air. As Heath was making an argument, hey, I brought some, positive attention to the brand by, Slammiversary and, running Heath for Impact ads. And but then he throws Heath's contract up there and leaves the office. And of course, this upsets Heath. And then immediately we go to him outside with Rhino, and Rhino's like, "Hey, how's it going? Right? How'd the contract negotiation go?" And Heath's now pissed. It didn't go. I don't have a contract. You see a contract in my hand. Then he points the blame at Rhino. He's like, I had that match with McIntyre on Raw, and they offered me a contract. And you told me not to take that contract because the grass is greener. The grass isn't always green on the other side. Now, is it, Terry? Thanks, Terry. And he walked off. And then, of course, if you watch this on the watch along, Ben had Black Sabbath's Changes playing in the background of this. So this was just a beautiful scene. But did you get an opportunity to see this physical terrorist on YouTube?
This apparently met the Impact Wrestling and Access Television standards of quality. I guess Anthem Entertainment, I believe, is the mother company. But yes, and I thought this was very good. This is what I was looking for. They kind of peel back behind the curtain. They play to their strengths. I really liked when Heath was calling Rhino Terry, implying, this is a real thing that's happening and not just a kayfabe storyline. So kind of blur the lines between reality and fiction. And this set up a couple different paths where we can go from here. And if anything, the biggest thing is it left me emotionally intrigued on what is going to be next for Heath in Impact Wrestling. So I like that.
Best thing I've seen from Heath since they've utilized him since he's
Agreed.
Now I'm actually interested in Heath.
Best thing in Heath's career. I think this is the best thing in Heath's career right here, dude. This was A+, like believable work. Plus, there's so much in here that I actually want to unpack this with Stevie. Not that I don't respect you guys, but Stevie has said this exact same thing in these contract negotiations. What was very real that wrestling fans won't understand because they haven't been in a situation like that. There's this ribbing that goes on back and forth. We saw D'Amore in the scene earlier with Rohit where he's got it turned up, where it's a positive but a false thing to get him entrapped. In this, D'Amore is
the scene when he goes, "We'll start you with this, and well see if you can work for this." Yeah, you're right.
After this, he goes, "Now I know you were up there and you've been on pay-per-view, or you didn't." He goes, "Look, I know I'm not the main eventer, but I've never met a Sunday morning job guy." He goes, "No, you're right. You haven't." He goes, "Maybe on Tuesday or Thursday, but you did a couple there." Like to rib back. That's more real than you know. That's more like shots fired where a guy tries to get an upper hand on the office and walks in where he feels confident and they want to knock you down a peg a little bit in that conversation without truly insulting you. They're insulting you as in like a rib way, a good brother kind of way. And then it gets to the fucking actual pen and paper of it. And he's like, you kind of can't be serious with this number. He goes, "Yeah, I could see your value being that, but you got to work for today to show that you're worth that and earn that. This is what you got to make it." And you know what I mean? That is so real That is so fucking real of how the game is played and how they will do that, where you step with a $220,000 contract because you were making double that in WWE based on that. So you're like, oh, I'm going to humble myself. I can get over and be comfortable. I can come and do work and travel off of this. But D'Amore's got one with $65,000 and he wants to get X amount of dates out of you for this amount, and he's going to put you here to do business for somebody else, but you have to prove that you're willing to lay down for Moose and these guys and be a company man. And then after this year's up, then we'll talk about your $220,000 contract.
Now when your value is even further down.
When it's down, and then they can come to you and go, dude, look at you lost to Moose. How are we supposed to pay $220,000? We're only paying Moose $140,000, and you lost to him. In the fans' eyes, you're not worth that. We just can't fucking do it. That is so fucking real that people have no idea. That's why this scene to me could be one of the best scenes I've ever seen in Impact Wrestling, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not just trying to suck hole my way into a job with D'Amore. I've been thoroughly impressed with the blurring of the lines in front of the fans on some of these things, that it seems like it's wrestling just for a wrestling show, but it's very, very fucking real. And to be honest with you, I think those two guys sat down, and because this is a very calculated scene, you can't just improvise this scene. And to do something that's plotty and written out like this and make it as real as they did was very impressive to me. And it makes, and especially because while that was going on, the tension was there. Then we get the payoff right after with the blow off on Rhino as well. So kudos to everybody. This was really the best thing on Impact tonight, dude.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, I was thoroughly impressed with it. I was, from production to acting, everybody all around. I was like, wow, this is fantastic. This was just good. Had you on the edge of
very real. Even though it was wrestling phony, it was very real.
Yeah. Well, then from that, we then go to EC3. He's standing outside with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship as Moose is looking on, and he informs Moose that it's time to break away from the title. Then after making that statement, he then throws the title off the bridge. So reenactment of the Rock throwing.
Sorry, I wanted to say on that last segment too, I wonder whose idea it was to put that in there, because that could be an absolutely real conversation that Heath had with Bruce at that fucking time when they brought him back. McIntyre, that whole thing could be a direct shot at Bruce. That's what I wanted to get to, of how they treated Heath at Raw that way as well.
Yeah, that's what I was also going to point out. I felt like that definitely Heath was, had his input from more of his WWE experience, and I felt like that definitely landed through into this scene for sure. But yeah, EC3, he throws the title. God damn it, Austin, get the hell out of here! Throws the Smoking Skull title off the bridge. Fake title, right? No, that's what EC3 did here for Moose. So if you want to go back and watch that video, you can. There's nothing really much more to talk about there. Just cut his promo into the title off the bridge. Then Ken Shamrock is backstage. He feels bad for injuring Eddie Edwards last week until Sami Callihan tells him that what he did was the right thing. He says that he helps build their social media presence. After Shamrock accepts Callahan's statement, he asks the world's most dangerous man, "Who's next?" Then Shamrock grabs a security guard, starts beating him up, as you talked about at the beginning of the show. Any more thoughts on Ken Shamrock? You want to move on?
Dude, looks like you go win the UFC title next week if you wanted to.
Yeah, I could take it with 20 guys. Before the main event, Matthews and Rain then announced next week's matches. It's going to be a knockouts triple threat match with Nevaeh and Havoc versus Rosemary and Taya versus Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. Kylie Rae's going to face Kimberly, Madman Fulton, Doc Gallows, and we're going to see part 3 of Rich Swann's road to recovery, which I guess we have to starts all over again now because he just should have been taken out there on that weight bench. Then we got our main event. Ace Austin, Madman Fulton taking on the Motor City Machine Guns. As I watched this live on Twitch, Ben Hamin was not impressed. Maybe not impressed with the Motor City Machine Guns. As you pointed out, you've never really been a big fan of theirs.
It's so weird, dude. I feel bad because both of them can do shit that I never will. And it's not that it's a size thing of like, look at these guys. They were the Young Bucks before the Young Bucks were the Young Bucks. It's just sometimes there's a window where things line up and somebody else gets that shot. And this type of thing with the Motor City, whatever, all this shit, that shit does, like, how is that? I remember watching that and going, how is that supposed to translate to a wide audience outside of Michigan? This fucking stupid thing, like that they point at their hand, like that doesn't do anything for anybody, dude. And you know, I worked with
warts on my hand.
Yeah.
Help me, goddamn.
They've both worked 2CW and we're awesome dudes, man. There's no doubt about it that they can get it done in the ring. It's just never believable to me with these spot fests and no sell to get this off of that. There's just a lot of fundamental wrestling that goes out the window when these guys are fucking A+. Why do that? And just to do a get your shit in fest on the shows. And it really takes me out of what's going on. I kind of feel, even though they can do awesome shit, both, if anybody's mailing in a performance, it's kind of the Motor City Machine Guns, in my opinion, dude. I'm just not connecting with them.
Physical terrorist. Your thoughts, sir?
It's almost like I just feel like they don't necessarily. You're right. They don't. Their performances don't feel impassioned. It doesn't feel like they're necessarily giving their all with it. And maybe that's the thing. It's not necessarily that they can't be, you know, super entertaining. It's just that they're mailing it in, and therefore it's not coming across as well simply because it shows.
It pops me though. They're like, oh, I'm going to mail in a fucking standing shooting star press because I can. Shit I can never do. Like when they just go through the package, like, you know, one dude takes the guy out at the knee, the other guy fucking hits him with the kick, and then here comes all that's there in the rhythm and the wah, but it just feels like we're going through it. There's not any emotion attached to these guys right now, and I think that's the biggest issue. And it's not that they can't, but we need to have some stakes in what's going on, not just another, because we saw it with the girls. Let's round out the tag division by having these run-ins happen and that's kind of an easy get out of jail free card at the end of a show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, that was Impact Wrestling. There's this I guess there's a post show. I haven't watched it on Impact Wrestling, is a channel, but it's called
just, it's just Zombie Princess and Don Callis talking about the show. It looks just like this. They're on a Zoom call. That's it.
Well, what I was going to point out, though, is if you happen to come across the graphic that they've got this week that says Impact Wrestling Aftershock, it's Jordan Grace standing on top of the turnbuckle with her leg kind of open and posing. I don't know. I just interesting choice of a shot.
Or no?
Huh?
Do you think they're ribbing her or no?
Maybe, because I mean, it's not like a level shot. Like it's, you know, it's more of an upshot, and her leg is open, and there's a shadow that accentuates her crotchal area. So I don't know.
Well, there's that. Sure. I mean, that's a choice for sure. And look how they used her this week, coming out of losing to Deanna. You know what I mean? Right. That's interesting too. Like that was. Like, all right, then we know they're going to try and do this. Is that a rib on the Tessa Blanchard stuff saying we'll never put a woman over a man again for a title? Like there could be a lot. If D'Amore is playing at that high a level on camera, believe me, D'Amore can play at that high of a level off camera to cut somebody's throat and get these little small things in, dude. Interesting, something to keep an eye on, no doubt.
Well, guys, that's it for another edition of your Impact Attack right here on hackerhamin.podbean.com. Of course, everywhere, all outlets, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Overcast, Breakercast, Touchacast, Pocketcast, my mom's ass, maybe. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I love you, Mom.
I'll put my ear up to it. I think I hear
and she lost a lot of weight. She looks good. That being said... Yes, I know. I have your picture, stupid infidel boy.
You will give me your mother's passwords. You will give me your mother's social security. I own it all now.
I want the printouts.
I want your mother's printouts. God damn it.
Oh, shit. I guess I'm joining the Bixium cult here. I'll have to get a branding on me here in the next couple of weeks.
You know what the David Bixen span called the Bixen.
Oh, that one? Oh, shit. So, yes, guys, check out all of our other podcasts as I put in over throughout the show. Hamin Media Group, 6-star search contestants. Those podcasts are up. Look out for the New Force Order. That'll be out tomorrow as well, episode 81, and the Triple D's podcast, which is now being called The Academy, which drops on Friday. New episode, Suck My Balls, is up on my feed as well as on Hamin Media Group and on Hamin Media Group's YouTube. First time there, the whole show, and on, of course, Suck My Balls YouTube. So you can check it out all there. The right episode is up. I uploaded the raw file yesterday. I was wondering why it uploaded so fast. It's because he didn't have the clips, but everything has been correct. It's all up there now. Go check it out. Of course, join the Discord if you want to interact with us in a privately non-PC way where you don't have Mark Zuckerberg or anybody else trying to tell you what you can and cannot do. So join us there in the Discord.
Police yourselves, though. Maybe keep it smart in there.
Yeah, of course. Argue, but don't, we don't need to like call each other out on stupid, petty bullshit, personal bullshit. But if you want to argue on logic and you call someone's idiocracy out on that, I'm okay too.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is our clique for a reason. There's always going to be alphas inside the tribe, but know that we're all in the same fucking tribe.
You are my tribal chief.
And we go to war with others, not ourselves. So support one another in there. Don't make any decisions that are going to screw it up for everybody else. And that's true in everything in life that you do. Think a little bit more ahead. And I'll try to as well as I continually open my mouth to bury myself. But hey, pins and needles, needles and pins. What are you going to do? Man Beast, what do you got going on today, bro?
Well, of course, making old lady squat. That's generally the first thing I do. But of course, also probably going to go grab a nice workout today. It's feeling good outside and think I might go for a little run. Of course, I am going to work on that bourbon podcast. Going to get that to K-Bob. It is almost finished. As long as K-Bob approves it, then we'll post it up on the podcast or Podbean.
Yeah, that's almost gone.
I know. Look at that. So that means we got to film another one coming up. Although I do want to alternate between doing spirits and, as you know, because I'm a beer guy too, and so I do want to throw. I got a beer collection as well. I'd like to throw some of that in there. So maybe we'll alternate back and forth. But either way, so I'm going to work on that later. Hopefully, get that to K-Bob by this evening, and who knows, maybe by the end of the week we'll have the podcast up.
Yeah, so Dr. Ted, JB hit me up. He had some ideas for some more digital debates here. He had Vince McMahon versus Dana White. Who's the better promoter?
Okay.
We got Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings. MMA.
We're still waiting on GGP to step up to the plate, though. I mean, GGP, he finds a way not to debate because Dimitri Zordos, he called him out. And he said, let's do it. And GGP is just finding an excuse not to. So I'm just throwing it out there. GGP so far has not been willing to step up to the plate to defend Star Wars.
Heat on him tomorrow night, then on Horseman. We'll see how
tonight. What do you mean tonight?
Yeah. Sorry.
So Javid also mentioned, though, his ideas, though, maybe we also include some more fan interaction to get larger groups of wider, like fans on both sides. So it may not even have to be GGP if he doesn't want to show up. He also noted MMA versus boxing, he think would be a good one. And then he got into some fun ones here. I like this. Rolled up weed versus bong hits.
I like that.
Chocolate ice cream versus vanilla. Marvel versus DC. So those were just some of the ideas he threw out there for some digital debates. Maybe you can get on that, Ted, when you have some free time.
Yeah, we just need to we need some master debaters, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, there's plenty in there, you guys. I think fun stuff doesn't have to be 2-hour sets like we're usually doing here. So check it out at Hamin Media Group. A great place to get all this alternative content, from the South Park Suck My Balls content to, who knows who's going to win the 6-star shootout here for the next affiliate shot. So I got plenty of podcasts to listen to this week as well. Go to @Hamin Media Group on Instagram and Twitter so you can stay up to date. We're going to open up the voting next week after we get everything.
Round 2. Yep.
Yeah, everything listened to, and we'll narrow it down to the final 3. So we're glad you guys are participating, and all 6 of those podcasts are awesome, even if the content of one of them is lackluster. We're going to have some fun. Add a new affiliate to the family, and I'm really happy about it.
And I'd be remiss, of course, if I didn't say tomorrow we're back to our regularly scheduled programs as Ben Hamin, and I believe Silvio as well. And I assume he'll be back for the regular Light the Fuse. And then I'm going to be back on the Next Level Wrestling Review, not with Colin this week, though. Colin is on leave, I guess we'll say. He's on a sabbatical from the program. But we will have Big Ray Hernandez in the house talking NXT tomorrow. So it should be a lot of fun. Join us at 10 a.m. We'll be on the Hamin Media affiliate YouTube page. And, of course, you can also find the upload later that day on hackerhamin.podbean.com.
Colin's not going to be there. Oh, he's going to be so upset because hasn't been able to do a podcast 3 months, and Ray still hasn't. Ray's kayfabe.
It was actually Colin that got it set up, though. That he pulled in big. He tagged in Big Ray, and Big Ray is ready for the hot tag, baby.
Yeah, but don't think he's not pulling a fast one on it because Colin's going to get to be on with Russo to do the Discord tutorial. So he's thinking he's over already. So no.
Well, I mean, I'll just go to Russo's house and I'll snipe him and I'll do it myself. You won't get to do shit, Colin. A couple more things I also wanted to point out. AEW, I will not be there. Guys, still in training, but of course, check out Light the Fuse with Ben Hamin and Silvio. And I'm assuming we're going to get some updates or some information on John Wick this upcoming episode of Conspiracy Horseman. And not yet.
Shout out to Free McAfee. John McAfee, obviously arrested in Spain on tax evasion charges in the U.S. I don't know how that extradition works or why they got him that way, but we'll be covering that tonight as well as the COVID, Trump, QAnon, whatever the fuck is going on. Drop the bomb to catch up as everything gets even more madness and even more Planet X news. October 31st, a blue moon out of nowhere. And, Planet X is also supposed to have a blue ice moon. And maybe it's the reflection off of that with the sun that turns our blue moon. Maybe. We'll talk about all that here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman tonight. Impact, it was a lot of high points this week, really ironing it out and making a motion on some things. Let's not drop the ball where we leave our heads scratching on a couple others because can't do really high level work and low level work on the same show. And I know that based on what I've seen there, they can raise everything up to the top. Unknown caller.
Impact Wrestling tonight. Last night it really got my go. It really gets my go. So
it gets my go-to. Really, and you can get my go over there on YouTube. Say what's up to those guys. It was a fun show with them. Castrating some marks. Russo'sBrand.com was great this week for the Raw and SmackDown review, and we had a fun time on Master Shoot as well, even though Vince was taking a call from the top people at Twitch. So we were missing some of our own laughs, so you guys got to fill it in. I think the improv was excellent this week, so we're always having fun with it everywhere we go, 7 days a week. You guys, thanks for joining us. It's Dr. Physical Terrorist Infidels, it's Sunshine Maddie, and it's Brondo stab me in the ass because I need to get bigger. Y'all are here at hackerhamin.podbean.com. Y'all are